Welcome back to Middle of the Road, a podcast for runners and would-be runners with busy schedules and big appetites. This is the final episode of our first season, and as ever, I am your host, Christy Luke Jones, and sitting next to me, my loyal co-host, Yua Wan. How's it going, dude?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm alright. You've been ill though, so we'll have to bear with you if you die of a coughing fit or sneeze all over the mic, and then it's just like dribbling sounds down the mic all episode.
Exactly. You just hear.
Put up a splash guard for you. What are we discussing today? What's the running order?
The running order would be essentially the big day.
Mm-hmm.
The big day itself. Like
Race day.
we're gonna go into a little bit more detail about not necessarily like the start line is there, spectators is going to be there, but we're actually going to talk about what happens when you actually how to get there. What happens when you actually get there? What facilities there are?
Mm-hmm.
The types of facilities that you can see, and then a little bit about the race itself, running it, and then we'll finish off with at the end.
Yeah, we'll kind of give you some insider knowledge, some insider tips, because you can read a race pack and it's 10 pages long, whereas you could listen to this and get some real lived experience.
Exactly.
From two runners that have been there before. So let's start off as we usually do, with the tradition of kind of going over what we've been doing for the last week or couple of weeks in this case. You've been doing...
I've been doing a lot of coughing,
Nice.
taking paracetamol. I've been ill actually for the past couple of weeks. That's why we haven't filmed.
Have you not exercised recorded? Damn, we haven't got that budget. Have you done any exercise, or have you rested up?
No, rested up.
See, this is a good tip. Don't push yourself too far when you're feeling rough, because your immune system's low already, and you're just gonna mess it up if you run.
To be honest, didn't even push myself. It was after Christmas.
Okay.
I haven't even done anything.
That's alright, mate. That's alright.
How about you?
I've actually been doing quite a bit because I'm starting to get panicky about the marathon being on the way, and post-Christmas, I've cut out caffeine for the entire of January, so I've got about another 11 days to go. I've also cut out alcohol. Alcohol I don't drink that much, so it's all good, but caffeine, honest to God, it's like a come down, like a big time withdrawal.
Yeah.
So if I tail off in the middle of the episode and you can't hear me, that's why.
Yeah, don't worry, we've got an IV drip of coffee.
Oh my
here.
God, even smelling coffee's great right now. But yeah, so I've been cutting out coffee, cutting out alcohol. I've been running. I've been trying to do around 25 miles a week. I'm going to hopefully step that up this week to early 30s. I've been doing longer runs, so I've been having to get out and do a half marathon just off my own back on Sundays.
Yeah.
I'm knackered.
Yeah, do you have one coming up this week? No, I mean this month, sorry.
2 weekends time, I'm at Watford in Hertfordshire in the south of England. I'm doing a half marathon there. It's meant to be a hilly one, so I've been practicing with some hills recently. I've also been practicing my race pace. So because I'm aiming for a marathon, I really need to slow down and really kind of chug along and clock those miles up. So I've been really trying to slow myself down and keep a steady pace. But yeah, I'm knackered.
Yep.
But that's all part of the fun. That's all part of the fun. So yeah, very different 2 weeks between us.
Yeah, very contrasting.
Very contrasting.
I was knackered as well, but for completely different reasons.
See, I try and run when I'm ill, and it makes it worse.
Yeah, I don't try at all.
You just got to dose up and get through it.
Yep.
But if you weren't ill, you'd probably be doing a race day this weekend or one of the next following weekends.
Yeah.
So when you've signed up for an event, and the eve of the event is upon you, so it's the night before the event.
Yeah.
What do you do on the night before? What's your routine?
So for me would be to look ahead of how you travel to the event.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is something that's not local to you, whether it means you're driving there, you're taking the train there, or even for those further afield to fly in, those are things that I need to consider, because normally, I would say start times are probably ranging from 8:30 to about 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
those are kind of the bands. So you got to really take into consideration the train times and bus times, public transports, and their availability, because in some areas it's not.
And also runs generally happen, many of them happen, at least in the UK, on a Sunday. So you've got to bear that in mind for public transport. But the main thing is, what you are kind of getting at is the transport thing. Just make it easy for yourself. Make it stress-free for yourself. And plan ahead and be a little bit boring and kind of look into all your times and print off your times and where you have to be and when. Because then you're not going to want to be doing that on the morning of the race. Especially if it's your first one. You might have a few nerves. The last thing you want to do is worry about not actually getting there. Yeah. My kind of race before race routine, so the night before, I will obviously do that. I'll sort out my transport. I'll also pack my race day bag.
Yeah.
Because I'll check it again on the morning of the race, but I like to have it packed and done and know everything is in there the night before, again, to reduce that stress on the day. Yeah,
and I think especially for bigger events, they do host like a luggage compartment on the day. So when you look through the race pack, always keep an eye out for the luggage tags, because those are the things that for you to use to store it.
Yeah, so especially if you've we tend to do runs where we've got at least someone there to kind of support. But if you're racing alone, which a lot of people do, that luggage facility, you really need to look into that if they've got it. Because if they haven't got it, you're going to have to reconsider what you're going to carry, where you're going to put stuff, whether you're going to put stuff in your car and then just carry a key with you. But don't leave it to the last minute, because you don't want to be panicking on the day.
I guess as what would you consider as a bare minimum? If say you were by yourself, there was no storage facility.
Right.
If you were going on a day and it's like the bare minimum, what would you take to be able to last through the whole day?
Ooh, have I got a car or not? Because I'm super.
Okay, let's do it without the car then.
See, I'm superstitious. I hate that. That would make me panic. So I probably wouldn't put myself in that situation. But if I had to, I guess I'd try and have an armband for my phone so that I could have it when I was running.
Yeah.
And chuck a key in my pocket. Have some shorts with a zip on. Chuck a key in there. Maybe a debit card and driving license. Yeah. Keep it super minimum. Then obviously, if you've got a drink with you or whatever, you can either have it in like a little utility belt or you can chuck it away at the start. But that's what I would do. I would carry, if you have to carry stuff, my kind of running style, my kind of superstitions, I don't like to carry a lot.
Yeah.
So for me, I would keep it super minimal. Chuck the wallet out and just take a couple of cards with you.
Yeah.
But you don't mind carrying stuff as much, do you?
Yeah, but probably I'll probably be the same as you in terms of, minimizing. So I have my house keys, my phone, the same with the debit card, and probably like a £10 note.
It's good call. Because after the thing is,
and your train ticket.
Yeah, after the run, if you haven't got any cash on you or anything, you're gonna want something to eat. You're gonna want something to drink. Yeah. Especially if you don't know how you're gonna react at the end of like a half marathon or whatever. You don't want to be super faint, and then all you get in the race pack is like. Because I know people
would like to carry water bottles and things like that to the event, but if you want to carry them bare minimum and it's a decent enough event, I think sometimes they do supply, water, etc. along the way.
They'll tend to again, that will be in the race pack. It will tell you how many water stops you've got. I think it's must be a legal obligation to have water stops.
Yeah, like even the smallest.
Even the smaller ones, because if someone passed out, they'd have a massive lawsuit on their hands.
Yeah, like even the most smallest ones, at least they serve beer like that.
Well, yeah.
But, they serve some form of liquid.
Yeah, but so that's it. Basically, the night before, don't give yourself a stress-free morning, by getting ahead of yourself the night before.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing, just to add. Like I like to do this is with your race number. I like to pin it on the day before on my running shirt.
So yeah, most of the race, I've been to a couple where the race bib has like adhesive things on.
Yeah,
but I think they're pretty crap because they like rip off and wreck your shirt. Most of them will be safety pins or bobby pins if you're in the US. If it's cold on the day, and we live in England, so most of the time it is, you're going to struggle to put those pins on, especially if you're on your own. It's a bit awkward when you're standing trying to put safety pins into your shirt. So do it the night before.
Yeah, I know we talked about this. I think we talked about this in the last one, but yeah, it's something that
it's a pain in the ass. I did a run that was in February of last year, and I could not move
we did it.
my
That was
fingers.
the Kingston one, wasn't it?
Oh no, that was Brighton.
Oh,
Okay. Kingston as well was pretty cold, but at Brighton I could not move my fingers, and I had to get one of the volunteers to do it for me.
Yeah.
And you don't want that if you're a bit nervous anyway. You don't want to handle that kind of stuff. So you've got your stuff ready. Get as much sleep as you can. I mean, if you're nervous and you can't sleep, make sure you at least rest.
Yeah.
And don't do anything too taxing. Get as much rest essentially as you can, because you want to get up in good time as well. Because you've said before, nutrition wise, you want to have a good breakfast, don't you?
Yeah.
What's your routine breakfast wise?
Breakfast wise, I think it depends how I feel. If it's something that I can prepare, like have some time to prepare, then I would eat at home. But if it's something that I know that, say like if I was traveling, half an hour or an hour to the destination by public transport as an example, then sometimes I'll prepare some form of breakfast that I could carry and eat it along the way.
Yeah.
Rather than, and then, when you're in that place on the train or something, so say like I'm going to London for one of the events, I would just eat on a train on the way in. Yeah. And it's just like a nice sit-down journey.
Yeah, and also, like we said before, with nutrition, probably not the best time to try something new. Stick with what your normal maybe a little bit more than your quantity of your normal breakfast. Stick with foods that you know, because you don't want to have something and then it upsets your stomach and then you got to run 13 miles on an upset stomach. Don't want that. No. Likewise, don't have anything spicy, because that's going to affect you probably in many ways. It's going to make you sweat more. It's going to potentially just don't change things up. Have what you're used to, have what you like and that gives you energy. Bananas maybe on the train with you. Cereal bar just before. Yep. But yeah, just again give yourself time to have a nice breakfast and a relaxed breakfast where you can. I like to sit and kind of psych myself up over breakfast. So my race day pack is packed. Yeah. I'm clothed. I've got all my trainers on and everything. I'm ready to go. I sit down and have a nice psych out period. Okay. Psych up period. Sorry.
Psych out.
Yeah. Psych myself out. But yeah, so again, just don't change things up too much. You want to be confident in what you're doing, and
yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Definitely.
So you've got there. You were lucky enough. Your train or your plane or your hovercraft or whatever you got there with, your monorail. You're there on time. Okay. What can you expect when you arrive at the race venue?
So I guess we could start off with, I guess, say a big. When I say big event, I don't mean just like London Marathon, but a decent size event where you're probably looking, at least a couple of thousand plus.
Yeah.
I think those ones
entrance into the thousands. Yeah.
Yeah, I think those ones you generally get, tented areas. You get marquees and
yeah, they tend to call it like you get if you've ever seen the Olympics on TV. They talk about the Olympic Village.
Yeah, where all race village.
They have a race village, event village, and that tends to have all your stuff like what does it have like a.
They have baggage areas, first aid. Yeah. Also, they have food. They do have food there. If you're more of a person that likes to have, bacon sandwich and stuff, they do serve food there. Yeah. But of course, a lot of it is cash. As a little highlight. They also have meeting areas as well, which I find really useful. Yeah. So they're like so sometimes you see them as these big flags or building specific like tented buildings that says meeting point, and you can meet people there.
Again, as well, check your race pack, because some of the bigger events will have things like massage tents, places where you can get taped up if you've got a particular problem area and you want someone to tape you up. You can pay. I've done it before where I've had a massage before the race when I've had a bit of a dodgy hamstring. Yeah. And that was really good actually. I think I paid about a tenner on the day. Sometimes you can pay on the day, sometimes you have to book in advance. But that really kind of relaxed my muscles. Yeah. Pre-race.
There's also like, I know the one in Reading that I went to, they have a little shop. So you can actually buy, if you don't have energy gels and you really like, there's energy gels. There's also, they even sell like running tops, and also sometimes specific tops that are for the event itself. So they have that big like Reading half marathon.
Yeah, so like commemorative like merch. And stuff like that.
And you can do all those little bits. And I think on the day, some events you can actually pick up your bib number on the day itself.
Yeah, sometimes I'll post it out to you, but generally now I think they try and avoid that for environmental reasons, don't they?
Yeah.
You pick them up on the day, there'll be like A to Z lines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm someone, again, like, I'm very superstitious. I'm very I like a routine with race days. So when I go to an event, I'll pick up my bib, and then I probably won't use any of the facilities, really, because I'll be in my own head.
Yeah.
Doing the things that I know I want to do. Going to the toilet about 50 times just to make sure that I don't need to when I'm running. Yeah. Some people love the facilities and they'll look at clothes and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and there's some sponsored events sometimes. There's like mini sponsors of the event. They probably loiter around and they'll have their own little things. I remember I went to the one in Gatwick and it was sponsored by British Airways. So they had a little tent of just like British Airways stuff, which was quite cool. But it's for... So sometimes I think if you have kids and bringing family and friends, then
something for them to do.
Yeah, something for them to entertain.
And sometimes as well, one of our episodes was about charity and running for charity. Some of the bigger events will have charity tents or charity areas where charities that are represented by runners at that event will be on hand to kind of give you support and maybe provide charity t-shirts and they might give you snacks and water and things like that. So worth checking with your charity if you are running for a charity, if they provide anything on the day.
If they have a support structure.
Yeah, even if it's just a cheering point, it's great to know where that is on the course. And when you're going through, if you're flagging a little bit, you get a little bit of a boost.
Is there ever a scenario where, even though you're running for a charity, I guess it has to be really small then, that there's no support on the day?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if a charity has one runner, say, in a race, then the charity would have to weigh up the cost of taking a cheering team for one runner.
Yeah.
So generally the big charities, if they've got any runners in the events, will be there anyway because they know they're going to get...
Yeah, they'll get more than one.
Cancer Research, Mind UK, anything like that. But generally the small charities will let you know if there's going to be a cheering point. And they'll normally have a meeting point, you get a photo taken, etc.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But so that's kind of getting there, getting yourself set up. What about when they start calling... I mean, where do you go? Because it's not just... People might have their own ideas of how it looks when you start, but...
So, normally on your race pack, and sometimes you see it on your numbers as well, and generally it happens when you enter in the race, when you start submitting what your finishing time will be, your projected.
Yeah.
They start blocking you in certain sections. So what they do is... A typical common one would be they give you colours.
Yeah.
So then you start seeing, whether they call it race pens or race areas, and you find the colour that you are. And
so the colour that your bib is will dictate where you start.
Yeah, whether you start really close or really further back.
So basically the elite runners or the people that predict they'll get the fastest times will be at the front so that they can, when the gun sounds, they can set off straight away.
Yeah. So with that, normally you do have... I think you do have quite a bit of time when they do start calling you in. Unless you're right at the front, like one of the first one or two groups, you don't need to worry too much in terms of, oh my god, I'm going to miss the starting gate, because you'll be quite surprised about how long it takes to shuffle all the way through.
Yeah, it takes it because that's why you have, when you get your... Jumping ahead a little bit, when you get your time, whether it's by email or by text message, they'll give you a chip time and they'll give you a gun time. So the gun time is, as the name suggests, when they tell you to go or they fire their starting gun, the clock will start ticking. But your chip time, so the time that's on your little microchip on your bib or your shoe, will only start going when you cross the start line.
Yeah. So
the one to go for really is your chip time.
Yeah, and in the end, if you do miss your starting slot, I think they're quite relaxed. You can slot in at the back.
Oh yeah, I've been in different pens before.
Yeah, I think they're more... You could say, I don't know about you, but I sometimes see it. They're more resistant about you jumping up than jumping down.
Yeah, I think they just worry about when they've got kind of professional runners and athletes. They don't want those professional runners running into trouble. They don't want them getting into trouble when they set off and like tripping up over slower runners.
Yeah.
Like you say, I think the people, anyone behind the elite runners, they're not too worried.
Yeah.
And kind of go where you want. It's like being on a plane. I don't know if this is a good metaphor, but like having first class and suddenly all the people from economy are going into the first class section. They probably wouldn't give too much of a damn if it was the other way around. First class people were like standing around in economy. Do you know what I mean? It's just to keep those elite runners safe from tripping up over me.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we
Fair
go.
enough.
So yeah, you're in your pen. Sometimes the bigger events, even some of the smaller ones, will do like a little warm up, a guided warm up.
Yeah, there's normally like a absolute nutter of a
like military fitness guy or a personal trainer,
or girl, or, you know, they'll literally just crank it up for
so
the whole group.
Yeah, so you get super loud dance music, and someone who's obviously very wired at that time in the morning to shout you through some warm up exercises.
I mean, for me, I'm not as I do enjoy it, but I think sometimes I feel like doing it for 20 minutes. It's quite crazy for me. I tend to do it for like the last 5 minutes of those sessions because I'm just like, after 20 minutes I'm just like knackered.
Thing is that again, I keep banging on about it, but I'm very resistant to changing my routine on the day. So I'll do my own stretches and my own exercise and ignore that person. But you see some people, it's part of the atmosphere. You get into it, they make you do silly stretches and things and jumping around. It's quite fun.
Yeah.
And you can see how on your first run, or some people would love it. If you're feeling a bit nervous, it certainly takes you out of the nerve section.
Yeah, I say do embrace it and enjoy it. I do.
I think that's a key thing for the whole day, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, don't kind of sit and worry. You're there. You run it. If you finish it, you finish it. If you don't, you don't. Just enjoy the experience. And the more relaxed you are, the more you're going to enjoy the run, and the more, I guess, focus you're going to have, and the less energy you'll be spending on worrying.
The blood will start pumping, and you wouldn't feel as stiff as soon as you take off. But yeah, I always find like not to. It's so easy to overexert yourself as the warm up act is happening.
Yeah.
There is a bit of a break, like once when he finishes, I think there's probably like 10-15 minutes before they actually start the race.
But don't knock yourself out. You don't want to be puffing and blowing after the warm up. It's literally just to loosen up your limbs. If it's cold, it gets you a little bit warmer.
Yeah. So I guess when you're at the start, you know, you're in the racing pairs. What about if you get a little bit? Sometimes it's nerves as well, but you know you need a bathroom break.
Yeah.
What's that? What's the facilities like?
They're normally pretty good because, like I said before, I'm someone who goes about 50 times just to make sure I don't have to go when I'm running. But again, it's the bigger races will have stuff on the way. Normally you'll see a few like portaloos, won't you, on the way?
Yeah.
But it's fine if you have to go. It's not really you think of it as, oh my god, it's the end of the world. It's really not.
Yeah.
You'll find somewhere. If you have to stop and go, that's.
I do think sometimes I did get into this. Once I was like carrying a bottle to the start and I was just like drinking it, and then it got to such a point we were waiting for so long. I drank the whole bottle and then I needed a bathroom.
Oh shit!
So then next time, because I was only drinking because it was there rather than actually, it was you just broke my pen.
I broke your pen. Sorry, dude.
Oh my god! And it's the Instagram. There's this Instagram pen that we have. Well, that I have.
This is the end of the podcast. I'll glue it together.
It's a special bamboo. I'll take a picture and post it.
We'll glue it together.
It's
It'll
a
be
disaster.
the glue that binds us. Anyway, you were saying.
That's like the race.
That's the race. That's over. You were saying.
But yeah, I think when you don't overdo it with like, I know you got to hydrate yourself, but when you're at the start of the race, you know, moderate it a little bit. Otherwise, you'll just be going to the bathroom because you're just so nervous. You're just like peeing it all out, basically.
But you will. The thing is, you will forget when you're running as well. You'll have enough to focus on, so you'll be distracted.
Yeah.
In terms of the race itself, we don't want to kind of go into it too much because the race, everyone will have their own individual race. Everyone will have their own pacing. Everyone will have their own goals. But generally, I would say feed off the crowd would be my pro tip. You know, when you've got people there cheering the runners on, and you've got people handing out sweets and things, really enjoy that aspect of it, because that's how you're going to get through tough parts of the race if you're struggling or if you need a second wind. The way you get that is from the crowd. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say for me the first 5-10 minutes. Definitely, I always look at it to absorb the whole environment in.
Yeah, the atmosphere.
And just let the atmosphere just take you over. But after that, kind of focus down, calm yourself down. Even though you can still listen to the crowd and enjoy it, but just remind yourself after 5-10 minutes, okay, I've enjoyed it now. Now it's time to focus and do that. But then along the way, when you need that little pep, that's where you know they're still there, and that's where you can draw it in.
That's a really good point, actually. I probably take the exact same approach. Like when you're to really get yourself going, you have that start thing where you maybe go a little bit faster than you should be for the first mile or two. You've got that boost of the start line. Everyone's there, but as soon as the runners start thinning out and spreading out, like you say, you've then got to get in your head a little bit and say, right, I've got 13 miles or whatever I'm running.
Yeah.
I'm in for the long haul. Let's get a rhythm going.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get my pace right. Let's look at my watch and get my pace right if that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And if you're not a person that, you know, looks at your watch that often and stuff, so sometimes I always find essentially you follow someone. You pick someone and you just follow behind them.
Yeah, if someone's running at a pace that you find comfortable, just adopt them as a running partner for a while.
Yeah, and if you start catching up to them, then you know either to slow down.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of trust your breathing, kind of check in with yourself, how your legs are feeling, how your breathing is. Just don't, so feed off the atmosphere of the day, but don't let it get you carried away. Because I've done it before, you've done it before. You sprint off at a ridiculous pace because you're excited and you're really pleased to be there.
Yeah.
And then 3 miles in, you're like, oh my God, I've hammered this.
Yeah.
How am I going to get through another 10 or so miles? You know, it's all in moderation.
Actually, what do you do about, what's your opinion about, you know, like sometimes at the start, it's more for winter events, colder events, when you dress up a bit too much, and then you're like, oh, I don't need this jacket. I know I've seen people a little bit more creative, and they'll be like bin bags or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, thing is, I tend not to have super expensive running gear. So if I wear a little jacket to a race because I think it's going to be really cold and I get too warm, I will literally just chuck it into the crowd. Because the bigger races tend to have these collections where it then all goes to charity, all the discarded clothing. But like you say, some people wear bin bags because then they just chuck them
to the side.
Race marshal, and they'll put it in the bin.
I know some manage to find those, you know, like they're not fire blankets, but they're the silver.
Oh, the foil kind of
things. They sometimes find those. I think if you're in a bigger event, I think you can. Do you just go to like the First Aid or the St. John Ambulance to ask them? I don't know where you find them out.
But just if you think you're potentially going to get too warm and you're going to have to derobe, either kind of disrobe, I don't know. Put it around your waist or chuck it away, or have someone on hand 3 or 4 miles in to throw it at. You know, just bear that in mind because you don't want it to throw you off your rhythm. You don't want to feel uncomfortable and feel like you're stuck with an item of clothing because, you know, that's not going to help you either. But, so run your own race. Don't get too excited at the start. Drink in the atmosphere, but keep yourself level and stick to your training plan if you've got. Well, you hope this is a training plan, so hopefully you've got one. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Definitely.
I always like to, if I've got a little bit left in the tank for the last half mile, I like to step up the pace a little bit. But obviously, if you're in pain, pain kind of to a level that you haven't had to stop because of an injury, but you're feeling it, you know, don't push yourself to sprint if you feel like it's going to put you at risk.
Yeah.
And always, you know, there are marshals to ask questions to if you're struggling. You know, stop. If you need to stop.
Yeah, definitely.
Your safety first. After the race, what's the normal
Yeah, I think it's normally like you go for that sprint finish, you see the finish line, you see the gun time. I think the first thing for me is to at least not straight unless you're literally flat out and you can't do any more. I always find at least try and walk for a couple of 100 meters or something. I always find that some people cross the line and they're okay. They can walk a little bit even though they're knackered, but they just stop. But there's a flood of people, especially bigger events, just constantly coming through, and sometimes you just forget, and I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah, and I think also as well, like, it's not a good idea to kind of stop or lie down or whatever. You might want to, but in terms of like lactic acid buildup and stuff, that's when you get really stiff.
Yeah,
like it's best to kind of slowly walk around and and warm down in a kind of progressive way rather than just stopping dead. And like you said, you're gonna get swamped by people if you stop dead. But generally, you get your nice medal given to you right just as you cross the finish line. Sometimes you get a t-shirt at the bigger races. You get a little goodie bag that might have a cereal bar, energy drink in. Most to all races will have loads of water at the finish line, so make sure you take on enough water when you finish. You don't want to be, particularly if it's hot, you don't want to be fainting.
Yeah, they normally have, don't they normally have like a post-race, like they have a couple of tables.
Yeah.
And volunteers are normally giving out, could be bananas, breakfast bars. Bigger events might have Lucasade, and then, general bottle of water, which is always good.
I would always my method of doing things is take everything. Take whatever they give you for free.
Yeah, it's like a goodie bag, isn't it?
If you don't want it, just give it to someone else.
Yeah, or friends and family, or take it home.
Yeah, you never know. You might want it, because when you finish the race, you
just eat all those calories back.
Yeah, exactly. But when you finish the race, you might be absolutely dead, and the last thing you want to do is eat something. But 2 minutes later, you might be absolutely ravenous. But yeah, that's about it.
You do get a medal, actually.
Oh yeah, I mentioned the medal. Yeah. And the medal's a fun part of it. Sometimes they'll release what the medal looks like before the race to get you excited.
Wasn't there one? I might have mistaken it. Like ages ago, there was this one event, and you said they handed you pesto.
Yeah, that was weird. So they normally give you actually kind of stuff that you can use there and then, like an energy drink or a cereal bar. But yeah, they handed me. It was like shampoo. Okay, I can understand that. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna want to have a good shower.
Yeah.
Shampoo, fair enough. They handed me a sachet of pesto. There is no way that's going to come in useful for... Even if I wanted to cook pasta that night, I'm going to go to a restaurant and get it, because I don't want to cook.
Yeah.
It just seemed like the last thing that I wanted. But there you go. You might get some weird and wonderful ones like that. Hopefully you'll just get chocolate and energy bars and things like that.
Yes. So I guess once when you go through that, so that's still... You could say that's still within... Not necessarily within the race itself, but it's within the... Like, they funnel you through this whole area, and you're running and picking up all the items and goodie bags. And then after that, you then finally go out, and it's back into... Sometimes it's the race village, or back into where the public...
Yeah, the real world.
The people are. So, I think, we're both probably just as guilty as this. We tend to essentially bugger off. We're kind of like, we're done with it, let's go and eat or something. Yeah. But... I've seen people, say that the post-race stuff is pretty good, but I'm never personally.
Depends what you're doing. I mean, if you're running in a group or you're with a charity and there's a lot of you doing it, then you might want to stay around and have group photos and watch the other. It's quite fun to watch the other runners come in and cheer them on. If you've ever attended an event just to kind of spectate, it is fun. It is kind of inspiring. And while you're kind of warming down and getting your breath back, it might be quite a nice thing to do, especially if you're running with other people, to wait for them to come through and cheer them on, and just soak up the atmosphere, because that's where you enhance the bug for running again.
Yeah,
isn't it? Because the run is difficult. It's gonna be physically taxing, so to then calm down and enjoy the post race might convince you to do another run.
Yeah,
it might not. You might be one and done.
One and done.
But
yes.
We've certainly not been one and done, and here we are.
we always said one and done. You even said that, I remember one time you said, "Oh, this is my last one. I'm retiring." And guess what?
Keep the public guessing.
Exactly.
That's what I like to do. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's kind of like the whole.
That's 11
whole
episodes
race.
and a 10-week rough training plan.
Yes.
Nothing too strict.
Rough around the edges.
Rough around the edges, but I think it's kind of a casual look at how to approach a race experience, and we hope that you followed it. And if you haven't yet, and you've somehow jumped in at this point, go back and listen to the other 10 episodes.
Yep.
And fire yourself forward. This isn't the end, though, is it? This isn't really the end. This is the end of season 1.
Yeah, as you say, just like when you finish your very first race, you always come back for more.
You always come back for more, and we're coming back for more. We don't know when,
no,
but we'll keep you updated. We're going to have a season 2, and what kind of format is that going to follow? Because we're going to change things up a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're going to change it up. I think we've been talking about it. I think we're going to create a more discussion. We're going to try and look at topics in the running community that's, you could say, I'm not going to put it as big as like the big debate, but you know, like a classic one. I think we discussed it earlier a couple of weeks ago about running on different terrains.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, that kind of discussions about which terrain is the best, which distance is the best one to run.
And we'll also try and bring in some guest speakers. So we'll try and bring in some non-runners. We'll try and bring in some people...
Mainly non-runners.
Yeah, mainly non-runners, but also hopefully we'll try and bring in a crazy person, so an ultra runner or something like that, who completely put us to shame and consider our casual approach disgusting. You know, we want to get some debate going, we want to get some lively some lively discussion going, and it'll be one-off episodes, so you can dip in and out depending on... We hope you listen to them all, but if you want, you can dip in and out to the topics that most interest you.
Yep.
And get to know a few more running voices.
Yeah.
But we've had an absolute blast doing this first season. There's been a couple of delays between episodes, but that's because you know we are average Joes. We don't always get around to things right away. But as always, keep up to date with our socials. We're on Twitter at @MOTR_pod. So that's at @MOTR_pod. You are also on Instagram. What's our Instagram handle?
At Average Podcast Runner.
There we go. All one
and I
word.
Posted that pen on there,
yeah,
so check it out.
UR's beloved pen has gone bye-bye. Between now and the second season, I will be gluing this pen together. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do.
Exactly.
Good luck with your big run, whatever it might be, whether it's a 1 mile, a half marathon, or a 100-mile desert trek. I hope it goes well. And until next time, enjoy.
See you later.
That's all you had. Thanks, guys.